Hello, my fellow project managers. Welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness. What has the PMI done? We've got the gremlins from headquarters playing around in the financial department, it seems. Is this real? Yes, it is real. The PMP exam is now $675. I'm going to unpack the implications of this. I'm going to analyze it from a variety of perspectives. And if you wanted to learn more about the PMP exam, just go on down to pmi.org, look under the certification section, and you'll be able to glean the information that I'm sharing with you today. For those of you that haven't taken a look at it just yet, let's jump straight into the PMI's website, because seeing is believing. I know a lot of people probably don't believe that this is true, but it is, because it's almost $700. That's quite a pretty penny. You ask how many people can actually afford that. All right, that's a huge sum of money for many people. I remember when I was getting ready for my exam, I could barely afford the books, talk less the exam. So if you're going down to the PMI website and you go under certifications and you look under project management professional, you can find all this information here. Let's close this. If you go down to the bottom, you see the numbers. The numbers are here. So it says, how much does the PMP certification cost? So the good news is, if you are a member, it does not cost $675. Let's get that out of the way, right? If you are a member, it costs $425. If you are a non-member, this is who the $675 applies to. So full disclosure, those of you who are paying $405 as members, the increase is only $20 for members. For non-members, though, the price has gone from $555 to $675. And all this information is what I'm going to unpack for you today. I'm going to show you what the implication is. I'm going to show you how to get around it. So let's jump straight in. If you do not want to pay the $675, become a member. Now, the question is, Phil, how much is membership? Membership is $159. That's right, $159. So if you want to become a member, you click over here, you go into the membership section, and if you do your sleuth work, you find out that the cost to be a member is $159. And you can see it says become a member and unlock all the benefits listed below, included up to 30% savings on PMP exam fees. So the good news is, if I'm a member, I don't pay as much. But is the cost differential that significant? That's the question that I want to ask. And the answer is, if you count a Benjamin as being significant, maybe. Well, I'm talking in American terms. Well, let's convert it. If you look at 120 pounds, or actually, it's more like 70 pounds when you do the conversion the other way. 70 pounds, $100 pretty much. If you look at that and you say that's a big savings, then it does make a difference, right? So I'm going to unpack all of that. And for those of you who follow the PMI closely and you're wondering, okay, what is the implication? Is this going to have any far-reaching effect on the community? Let's examine that. Let me share some additional thoughts with you. And I know it's a Monday morning for those of you in the United States, those of you in Europe and Asia Pac, you're winding down for the day. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. But I do want to address this because for the longest time, this exam was $555, which isn't bad, right? For a professional exam. But when you look under the hood at the possibilities, it could become a little bit concerning. So let's jump in and talk about the possibilities. Quick analysis of the PMP exam fee increases and market impact. So jumping straight in, PMI is a global organization with over 1 million PMP certified professionals. PMP certification is widely recognized and respected. PMI offers multiple certifications. We know that, right? Now, previously, the fees were $405 for members. The membership fee was $139, and non-members exam fees was $555. So if you do the math from way back when, 405 plus 139, that's about $544. So there was a differential of $11. And that $11, honestly, it doesn't look like that was enough for people to decide to become members. It was just 11 bucks. So that number has widened. And this motivation to become members of the PMI is definitely at its height. And you're going to find more people becoming members of the PMI, right? Let's talk about the current exam costs. So now $425 is what the PMP exam costs for members. $159 is the membership fee. Non-members, $675. So there's a significant fee increase for both membership and exam cost. Let's go a step further. Let's look at the numbers percentage-wise. So there has been a 14, if you will, percent increase in the membership. It's not as bad, right? 139 to 159 is a $20 increase pretty much. The exam fee, the increase for members, again, is another $20 because it's from 405 to 425. So that's a 4.94% increase. It doesn't look that big, right? The exam fee increase, though, for non-members is huge. It's 21%, right? Now, if you look at the composite cost increase, membership and exam for people who are members of the PMI, it's a 7.37% increase. Now that the numbers are climbing up. Let's go a little bit under the hood. The total cost now for members, if you pay $425 for the exam, and then you pay the $159 for membership, it's now looking at going towards $600, but the amount differential is really just $29, because it was $555, now it's $584. So it's really just a composite of $29. The total cost for non-members, on the other hand, is huge, right? $675. But the numbers don't lie. When you look at the differential, being a member of the PMI, not being a member of the PMI, it's $91. So being a member now has a $91 advantage versus what it was before, which was a puny little $11. So PMI know what they're doing. They've done their number crunching, and they realize this will motivate people to become members of the PMI. And honestly, look, I don't work for PMI. You know me, I'm one of the most critical people of our organization because it's our organization. PMI is not for one person, it's ours. So when I talk about PMI and I critique PMI, I am doing it because I'm part of the PMI's organization as a member. So I am a stakeholder and I have concerns, and I'm extremely vocal about that, right? Now, let me be perfectly honest. People who have not become members of the PMI, wow, what are you doing? Why aren't you a member of the PMI? Again, I am not a PMI employee, but I want to recommend that if you are remotely associated with the PMI by virtue of the PMP exam, the CAPM exam, the ACP, the PGMP, and all the others, just be a member. If you're in it for the long haul, the common sense is I am not going to leave money on the table. I'm going to maximize what PMI have to offer me, and I'm going to be a member. Let me explain why. If you are not a member of the PMI and you want to renew your PMP, you're going to end up parting with $150. If you are a member, you're only going to part with $60. And here's the logic, and I'm going to show you all the numbers in a few minutes. But if you are a PMI member, it is cheaper in the long run to renew your certification, even if you became a member for just the final year of your PMP cycle. Because every 3 years, you got to pay for that renewal fee. And I know many people, you don't like it. I don't like it. But the PMI every 3 years. Now, this is what used to happen before. It was great. Before, let's turn the lights down. Before, we had this certificate of achievement, or whatever you want to call it, or certification of the professional thing you have with the PMI, right? They used to give us this. I want to call PMI out. Now you said because of COVID, you ain't doing this, but the cost is going up, right? So what are you doing for us is the question. Now I can partially answer the question, but I want PMI to answer it for themselves. And for full transparency, to just look and say, are we doing enough for people to warrant this additional cost in the membership and so on? What I believe PMI is doing for us is, and I'm going to show you that shortly. If you are a member of the PMI, did you know that the PMI has an auxiliary site called projectmanagement.com? And on projectmanagement.com, you can get PDUs for no additional cost. Now, for those of you who are not certified, PDUs does not apply to you. PDUs are professional development units that are used to renew your PMP or ACP or PGMP, whatever you have. Let me show you that right quick. I'm going to take you to projectmanagement.com because I know a lot of people don't know it exists. And in my mind, if you're not a member of the PMI, you're kind of leaving that money on the table because you could get your PDUs for free, pretty much. And the other cool thing is that PMI helps you to update those PDUs in your CCRS portal section. So if you go over here, over to webinars, there's a treasure trove of webinars. And I want to applaud PMI for this. I don't know a whole lot of organizations that are this proactive in building a community where you can go on webinars, you can meet other PMPs, other ACPs, other PGMPs, and you can really get into the community with these webinars. This is just one of the perks of being a member. Let's click on on-demand webinars. And over here, you can search for different webinars depending on your industry. This is one of the advantages of being a member of the Project Management Institute. And it's all free. The claiming of the PDUs, it's free. The argument may be, well, it's automated. I know it's largely automated, but they do have some human intervention. But again, to hold PMI accountable, just ask, has there been any difference between the 139 and the 159? Now, it might sound like Oliver Twist, and while I applaud PMI for its great work, we can always do more. We can always do better, right? What I would love to see from the PMI, let me go full camera. PMI, look, what I want to see from you, right, for our community is I want you to take the study hall up a notch, because we have the study hall. And I know the price isn't too crazy, but I have a grievance with study hall. The questions are whack. The questions are so bad that honestly, me as an individual, I wouldn't even put stuff like that out there. So I would love the PMI to create some free, I know they don't like that word, but it's not really free. It should be members, right? I would love PMI to create a portal, take some money off the table, because these are big amounts, and I'm going to show you. But I would love the PMI to create at least a free version. How about creating a free version like we had before Sunil left? Do you remember when Sunil was a CEO? We had like 150 or so questions, and they were free. And everyone was like, my goodness, PMI, you're actually giving 100+ questions that you created for free. And it changed the game. It was during COVID. I don't know whether it was a feel-good approach PMI was trying to use for us, trying to make us feel happy, but it was good. And I would like to see that come back, because the questions were not as bad as study hall. and it was free. And the questions are still out there. It's just that they're a little bit too PMBOK 49 process and input output specific, but some of them are still good. I would love to see PMI do that. It doesn't always have to be, okay, because it's associated with PMP, let's put a price tag on it. No, I would love to see at least a few practice questions, right? Done at the exam level, because study hall ain't at the exam level. If we had a free portal, let's even just say 50 questions. Because when you do a search for previous PMP questions, the puny little 3-question PDF sheet it comes up with, that isn't good enough. I think PMI can do better with these new cost increases. So I want PMI to put a PMP free for members. I'm not even just saying free for the world, for members, right? That would be something I would love to see. I think it would really help the community, because not everyone can afford a $20, $30, $50. There are people in a lot of these other countries that a $50 increase, you know what that means? That's my salary for a month. So let's help our people, PMI. Let's put out some new question banks. Let's revamp the study hall because it's quite horrendous. And let's use these resources like good custodians. What's the word we use? Stewards, right? A good fiduciary. There needs to be some free PMP questions for members, free ACP questions for members. It doesn't always have to have a price tag. Okay, I would love to see that. The template section is a little bit all over the place, but I would like a better collection of templates for people who are members, right? $159 isn't chump change. All right, let me get off my soapbox with that one, and let's go back to the discussion about the fees. Let's talk about these fees, because I know these fees be rubbing some people the wrong way. They're not very happy about these fees. Especially those who are blindsided. You know, another thing that I've noticed about PMI, sometimes our friends at headquarters, they just emerge like Moses with the scrolls. They just emerge. Hey, price increase. Well, you could have given a little bit of notice so people can at least, maybe motivate people even. But that didn't happen, and people wake up on a Monday morning and the prices have magically changed. No, come on now. Give people a notice. Give a dog a bone, for goodness sake. So being a member of the PMI, like I showed you, the projectmanagement.com, that's a huge advantage. The other advantages you get by being a member of the PMI, you get all the standards. And I got to applaud PMI for this one as well. PMI, don't change it. Please don't change it. Because I know some people get these great ideas. Well, we should probably stop all the standards and put No. PMI, don't do it. If you're planning on taking away the perks of the standards, please don't do it. Don't do it. Keep them as you have it. Everything's working. The fan is spinning. Don't get any other bright ideas. No, it's great. So if I was going to justify the cost increase, I know there's been some inflation. PMI have done quite well in keeping the exam cost stable all this while. And when you look at the differential, $11 versus $91 now, the differential between what it was then, right, for members versus non-members and what it is now, yeah, it's a huge differential. So you might as well just become a member, right? Being a member, it still has an advantage. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, PMI. How much are you making from all this? Well, I know some people are not concerned, but we have, the purse watchers, the people who are. So I want to address that curiosity. So think about it. The PMI has about 1 million. Let's just talk about PMP. PMI has about 1 million PMPs, like over 1 million. They won't like me saying 1 million because I know that 1.25 is a big, right? 250,000 people is a lot. So there's a 1.25 thereabouts, or maybe even more, right? Million people that are PMPs. Let's say a third of those, because every 3 years you renew the cycle. So let's say every 3 years we have one third of that population renewing their PMP, right? So every 3 years, let's say 30% of them are smart. They're going to use the membership fee, right? The membership fee that helps them renew for just $60. If we had 30% of the 1 million renewing for $159, the PMI for those 300,000 people, I mean, the number is staggering, it's mind blowing. You might be in the wrong business. The PMI is making $47.7 million. OMG. No wonder once upon a time they had half a billion. That's half a billion they had once upon a time. It's numbers like this that helps the PMI stack paper really quick. 47.7 million. And that's just judging from 30% of those who are certified. And I made these approximations because every 3 years you're meant to renew. All right. Now let's talk about other renewals, right? So the renewal fee, we haven't even talked about the PMP renewal fee itself. The renewal fee itself is $60 if you are a member, $150 if you're not a member. So if you do the math, the estimated annual revenue in my mind from PMP renewals, when you combine the numbers, is about 24.75 million, at least, in my rough approximation. One way or another, whether they renew this year or next year, the aggregate is going to boil down to these amounts. PMI is an organization that is extremely robust financially. So if we take a look at the revenue from membership and renewals, PMI could easily, I'm not saying this is the number, right? But approximately, in my estimation of things, 72.45 million. That's a conservative estimate, and it accounts for just the PMP. When you add the ACP, the PGMP, the PMI, PBA, the CAPM, I'm telling you, PMI, they stack in paper. They are hugely beneficial. They're making a huge profit. Now, the reason for the fee increases, I want to be fair here. I'm not judging the PMI for their increase. Everyone increases dollars, right, in their fees and their charges. So there's been inflation. Since COVID, they didn't really increase anything. There's content updates and revisions to reflect industry standards, investments in technology. PMI has done a lot of work on AI very recently, and they've made all of those available for free to the community. So I applaud them for that as well. The only thing about the AI piece that PMI is working on, my request to PMI is make it pragmatic. A lot of the courses PMI has put out are hugely definitional, right? Definition based, but I would like to see more pragmatism in the AI. And I would like them to really zero in on what the AI landscape is for the PM. Still a little bit hazy, but they're getting there. They're doing a good job, right? And there's been a global expansion and enhanced member services. Let's talk about the impact of fee increases on potential candidates. So there would have been a short-term rush if we had known in advance, but I really didn't hear any announcement. I don't know if you folks taking the exam did. I didn't get any announcement. It would have been good if those who had started the application were told, hey, the exam fees are going to go up, so you might want to strike while the iron is hot. Do it now. There's going to be an increased scrutiny of ROI, just like I did. Just like I'm like, wait a minute, PMI, how much are you making from all this stuff? Right? Potential shift to alternative certifications. Now, this always happens. You always have trade-off. Is PMI worth it now that it's $675? Joe Blow, Joe Schmo off the street, he's going to look at the $675 off the bat because they're not going to understand these membership, non-membership dynamics. So right off the bat, the $675 is not good advertising. Let me just be straight up honest. It takes away the propensity for people to take this exam. So the increased membership uptake to offset exam costs. I mean, is Pearson really, maybe Pearson is up to the ante on their costs? I don't know. But I'm saying people don't care about that. The idea is just going to be, why am I paying $675? I've also heard from some people who are PMPs and they say, Phil, I cannot justify this cost. I've been a PMP for the past 10 years. I haven't seen an increase. I'm in the same company, making the same stale old money. I'm fed up. I'm not going to renew. I want to talk to my colleagues. Let's go full screen on this one. Hey, please don't give up your PMP without extreme consideration, because I know a number of people that left their PMP by the wayside for reasons like this. They got mad about the fees only to lose the positions they were in and to realize, oh, I need a PMP. Can I get it? No, your PMP is lapsed. You have to do it all over again. Get smart. Think about the cost, not just of the exam, but the cost of doing it all over again. Because we're talking about 200 to 300 hours of prep time. We're talking about additional books. So I want to appeal to those of you who have a PMP and you're thinking of letting it lapse. Don't do it. That will not be very wise, especially for those of you who are nowhere close to retirement. Don't do it. I've had friends who were close to retirement and they renewed their PMP because they knew anything can happen. You got kids, you got grandkids, you got extended family. You may have to jump back into the workforce and you need something that will get you in there, get your foot in the door. Okay. So don't take your PMP lightly. You worked for it. The value of the PMP is more than the price tag. My goodness, if I was going to value my PMP, it would be in the tens of millions. Seriously. So don't look at your PMP like, oh, it's not really worth anything. It's worth a lot. It's worth a lot. In this world today, people go by the stamp of approval, right? PMI is like a vendor to other companies. They do their heavy lifting and their dirty work for them. What do I mean? As opposed to doing a big old exam to see if you're even worthy of the project management job you're going for. Well, they just look, do you have a PMP? And that immediately, whether you like it or not, I know people are critical of the PMP, but whether you like it or not, having a PMP gets you in the door. I'm telling you, it's magical. I know this firsthand. I've been trying to get into Honeywell for like forever. And I had this propensity to this company, this pull. And I really didn't know what it was. It was later on I would realize why I was drawn to Honeywell. It was part of my destiny to be in that company because a number of great things started. But I would not have gotten into Honeywell without my PMP. I had my master's in construction IT, my civil engineering bachelor's. It did not get me in the door. What got me in the door was, are you a PM? Oh, you are a PMP. Ah, then you must know about earned value. And my interview was so earned value heavy. I mean, some of you don't even like study a lot of earned value, but back in the day, this was big on the PMP exam. Earned value was huge. And I'm glad that it was because it prepared me for the role I played at Honeywell, which was being a consultant on earned value because I knew all the formulas and how it worked. But the PMI through the PMP got me gripped into earned value. And then I studied online at Defense Acquisition University, got really good with earned value. And when the job came up, oh, you're a PMP. Manpower Professional was the recruiting firm that got me into Honeywell. But the interview was significant because they were asking me PMP questions. So I've been for interviews without my PMP. Disaster. Shameful. I went for an interview up in DHL. This was before my Honeywell interview. I hadn't gotten my PMP, and it was just a bloodbath. It was pathetic. I pretty much crawled out, and they didn't even contact me to tell me how badly I did. It was that bad. They didn't contact me. Oh, we get back to you. No, they didn't get back to me because it was bad. Now, look at other interviews. Honeywell, Motorola, General Dynamics, American, many other organizations, and the list goes on. Now, you got to understand, I have a consulting background. So I'd done some work with firms in a consulting capacity, and there were interviews, and I got so many offers, crazy. Without the PMP, no. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I'm trying to appeal to those of you who are thinking of ditching the PMP. Don't ditch your PMP. You may just very well need it. All right, the long-term impact that I'm seeing, some people might want to go in a different direction, and that happens all the time. But I want to speak to the value of the PMP, right? It is valuable. I would recommend still go ahead, and it's going to pay off in the long run. So, unintended consequences of the fee increases. There could be a growth of underground markets for exam preparation materials. And I'm saying not good, right? There could be a potential innovation and disruption in the certification market. PMI will need to protect intellectual property and ensure exam integrity, and I'm sure they've already considered those. PMI may reinvest in enhancing its value proposition, and they should, right? They got to do a whole lot of reinvestment because a $10 increase could do havoc to a product. Talk less, 20%, right? That's a huge number. Potential improvements in online resources and professional development, and ensuring certifications remain relevant and competitive. So I'm looking for PMI to show the world that that price tag is worth it. So PMI's fee increases, they're driven by a need to maintain the quality and relevance of its certifications. Despite the high cost, the long-term value of PMP is likely to sustain its popularity. I would say highly likely. PMI must carefully manage candidate perceptions and market responses to maintain its position as a leader in project management certification. For those of you who don't know what the PMP exam is, and maybe you're just, you might just be watching this accidentally. Well, the PMP exam is a professional exam. It stands for Project Management Professional. The PMP exam has 180 questions. They have to be answered in 230 minutes. It's a combination of multiple choice, drag and drop, select all that apply, and you are graded on a scale of target, below target, needs improvement, all the way up to above target. So the highest you can get is above target. The lowest you can get is needs improvement. Target is right on the line, and the passing score is not disclosed because it's similar to the Angoff cutoff technique. It's not etched in stone and defined across a long period. So if you are looking to get certified as a PMP and you're wondering where to start, well, the place to start is my boot camp. There are many solutions, but I have often branded myself as one of the most caring and empathetic trainers because I will listen to what you have to say, listen to your opinion, and I will get you to dry land at all costs. I have students who have been with me for a very long time. This is why they start off on their PMP, life hits them in the jaw, they fall off the wagon, but they come back. Why do they come back to me? Because they know I am known for my empathy. I have a class that has started. It's hpmexam.com. You can still catch up with this class if you sign up. You will have a one-on-one session with me to get you caught up with the class, and we have 6 more weeks. So if this sounds like something you're looking to do and you're like, I don't even know where to start, because there's some people who say, well, I can do it all on my own. And very well they can, right? But there are a number of us who need a coach. We just want a coach because, it's penny wise, pound foolish. A coach will cut out all the crud, get to the heart of the matter, and just show you how to get it done. You're not going to be asking, which book should I read? What should I? No, the coach will tell you everything. And that's my job, to help you. I've written numerous books about the PMP exam from an agile perspective, from a PMP predictive perspective, from a hybrid perspective. And I have a book called PMP Exam Immersion I wrote with my buddy Roy. That book, it just helps clarify things for you. So if you want to take the PMP exam, you want to cut out all that crud, go on down to hpmexam.com. For those of you who say, Phil, I would have liked to be in a live class, but I can't. Hey, my friend Lawan, good to see you. James, good to see you. I didn't even see you come on. Our friend James is one of my esteemed colleagues from LinkedIn. Yeah, James, those are big blistering numbers, aren't they, James? And Lawan, good to see you, Lawan. Lawan is one of my PMP graduates. Awesome stuff. Good to see you. Thanks for chatting in. Thank you very much. I did not see that. Lawan says, Phil is a confirmed and knowledgeable trainer. Well, thank you, Lawan. Thank you. Thank you for jumping in to give people that confidence. Says the information he presents is sound and profound. Certified CAPM and PMP student of Phil. Thank you, Lawan. So nice to see you. I know some of you who are PMPs, you're like, thank goodness I dodged that one. 670. What? I ain't in the business of giving PMI any more money than I need to. Well, unfortunately now, some people, they have to do that. And I was saying, for those of you who are like, Phil, I do want to get certified, but I don't want to be in a live class because I can't afford it. I want you to think about this. There's a quote that goes like, You are your most expensive asset, but you're your most expensive asset. What does that mean? You may pay a lot of money to get certified, but you are your most expensive asset. Why not invest in yourself? Right? It says, the good book says, don't muzzle the ox that treads the corn. And the idea is, if you're working and grinding and you're working for your family and you're putting in all these hours, it makes sense to spend some money on yourself. And honestly, when I look at the PMP, I look at it like I'm actually spending money on me to get better, to get more efficient. Because without my PMP, I would not have been fortunate to meet the caliber of clients, that I have met. Everyone from NASA and the FBI to the US Air Force. I've had the honor and the pleasure of spending an entire week with our men and women in uniform at the US Air Force Base at Mildenhall in the United Kingdom, overseas, because we are stationed overseas. So I'm invited to the Air Force Base. I'm there with them on base, training PMP for a week. And I have people in active zones getting certified. Think about it. The PMP is really something if our government can understand that, to invest money, the Department of Transport, the Department of Commerce. I have students from all over the world, different governments of different countries getting certified. I know the PMP haters are going to be like, well, it's just a money making scheme. It's actually not. Let's give the PMP its flowers. It's done a lot for the world in producing project managers. You got to understand, just like colleges have the bad eggs, they have the rejects. You know what I'm talking about. You went to college with some of these people and they graduating like, oh my goodness, that one's going to be a doctor. We have those in the world of PMP as well. My buddy Lee Lambert, he calls them paper PMPs. So you are going to have paper PMPs, but there are a lot of real ones as well. And the real ones are those who value the process of getting certified and they're shining lights in the organizations they work for. Okay, so for those of you who want to study with me on demand, you do not want to have to pay like the sum of money to be with me live, even though I think it's one of the best investments, because if you are in my live class, you are going to learn pragmatic project management. It's not just about getting certified. You're going to learn how to blow stuff up in the real world. I'm all about blowing stuff up. I don't mean making stuff unnecessarily big. I mean being the best version of yourself. And a lot of PMPs, unfortunately, they haven't had the pleasure of being in a live class with an instructor who can take them to that next level. So I want you to consider investing in yourself. But short of that, if you're not able to do that and you say, Phil, I can't afford that. Well, I've got an option that's under $200. It's at tinyurl.com/elite PMP. If you go to my elite PMP course on Udemy and you reach out, get in touch with me via LinkedIn, and I will take care of your project management as long as I'm able. Whether you're looking at doing Agile certifications, Scrum certification from Ken Schwaber, from the Scrum Alliance, I'll always give you guidance because we're going to be connected through that. So jump on one of my courses, right? Or if you just got any questions about the PMP, put them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Have you got any questions or comments? Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. For those of you who are getting ready for the exam and you may not have any immediate questions, I want to address one of the questions that people often ask. Well, PMP is so difficult. What do I do? Our friend Lawan says, get the live class. This is from someone who has been in class with me. Get the live class. It's worth it. Communication and networking with like-minded individuals are valuable assets. Absolutely. I'm telling you, the price tag on this course is like 1/5 of the price it should be. You go to courses of in the 2000s, they aren't as good as this course, which is in the 500s. This course right here, hpmexam.com. Go on down there and you will be glad you did, as our friend Lawan is saying. You will also have a network for life. Like for me, when I got certified as an OPM3, my colleagues, Colin and Tim, they have become business partners. So when I'm going out, with Praizion to train and coach, I have other people who have come along because of associations. And one of those is Colin and Tim's company. They come alongside and we formed alliances. And that's how alliances are formed. It's when you're in class with like-minded people and then you do big things together. That's really what it's all about. Okay. So for those of you who are asking this whole PMP thing, how do I navigate it? It's so difficult. I want to show you how to make the PMP simple. There's a way. The simplicity of the PMP exam, you're going to have to boil it down to PMI's bare essentials. And the PMI, they say the exam is broken into 3 domains. I want to show you those domains real quick this morning, this afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world, right? So I'm going to show you how to tackle the exam. It's very simple. You need to break the exam down into 3 pieces. It's either people, process, or business. I call this PMP Simplified. And in PMP Simplified, all I'm doing is showing you 3 buckets. And I'm giving you some guidance, guidance to study, okay? Because I know some of you, you've been wrestling with the PMP and seeing this video pop up, you're like, oh, let me go get some inspiration. Well, you came to the right place. I'm going to inspire you this morning. I'm going to show you that you can actually get this thing done. Let's jump into PMP Simplified. So I did this webinar a few days ago, but I'm going to give you a quick refresh on the webinar. The secret to getting PMP certified is to distill it down to the bare essentials. The PMP exam can be broken into these 3 buckets: people, process, business. People, process, business. Let's jump into the people domain. These are your marching orders. All right. So for you to get this done, I need you to put aside 2 to 3 hours daily. And then I need you to amp it up to 4 hours. Don't ask me how, go figure it out. But I know you can do it. 2 hours daily. I need you for the first week. I need you to be covering roughly 3 a day. What do I mean? 3 tasks under people. If you do 3 a day, that's going to be day 1. That's going to be day 2, day 3, day 4. 5 days. If you're really serious about this, within 5 days, you could be done with the people domain by tackling 3 tasks a day. Now, these tasks are based on PMI's research. These are the things that project managers are expected to do in the real world. So your exam is going to be based on this. You will get questions on conflict, on leadership, on building a team, on addressing and removing impediments, and so on. So this is going to be your week 1. At the end of week 1, I need you to take an account of your people domain prowess by taking quizzes from the people domain. One of the best ways to prepare for this exam at 0 cost to study. Watch what I'm saying now. 0 cost. I am giving you a totally free repository of 50 hours of content. 50 hours free. This is not any of the paid stuff I talked about. This is study content for you. You want to know where to get the study content? There are 2 places I need you to lock into. I need you to lock into pmp.pmradio, all lowercase, .org. I need you to lock into that site for free. Just type this into your browser, not into your search, but into your browser and hit enter. pmp.pmradio.org will take you to a repository of videos, a collection of videos right there in plain sight, but it's curated to tackle the people domain, the process domain, and the business domain. And if you just follow through the videos one by one, just play them and listen, you will learn in 40 days. I call it 40 days to PMP. It's a program for studying. And this will help guide your efforts. Okay. Now, this is after you've been for a live class, because you got to know what you're doing. Don't just jump into this without going for a class. And if not a live class, at least an on-demand class. The next thing I need you to do is go to the process domain. I need you to do the same thing. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. 6 days, you should be done with the process domain. If you are wisely tackling this as I'm advising, 6 days is all you need for the process domain because you're mowing them down 3 a day. Again, you got to watch the videos at pmp.pmradio.org. For those of you who are on the go and you're like, well, Phil, I'm on the move a lot. Do you have anything in podcast form? Yeah, I have a number of podcasts to help PMPs who are graduates and those who are not. So if you want a podcast that can help you, go to study.pmradio.org. This is for the podcast of 40 Days to PMP. Now, if you go back to the very beginning of the first episode in the podcast, that's where you see me tackling them in 40 days, right? So I start off with day 1 and progressively go all the way down to day 40. So make sure you're latching to that one. And then for the business domain, you should be able to get this done in 2 days max, 2 days max. So I want you to cover this. This is quite a big area. And as you go through the videos, you'll see that even though it's 8% of the exam, it is a significant amount of knowledge that you need to digest about benefits management plans, benefits registers, benefits owners, value versus benefit, the job of a product owner, how to think value, how to think cost of delay, and so on and so forth. So it does get pretty big, but do spend 2 days on it. And you know what? At the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. People, you would have spent approximately 5 days. Process, you would have spent approximately 6 days. That's 11. And business, you'd have spent approximately 2 days. I want to wager that in 2 weeks, you can do your first pass of all this material and then go for seconds, put another layer of paint on it, go for thirds, put another layer of paint on it. And that's how you navigate this exam. You go a step at a time, okay? For those of you who are wondering, okay, is there a book that you can recommend for me to study for this exam? Yes, there's a book I can recommend, and I want to recommend the book my buddy Roy and I wrote. It's called PMP Exam Immersion. PMP Exam Immersion can be accessed if you go on down to our website. It's praizion.com. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. If you go to praizion.com and you scroll down to the bottom, you will find the options for these books because it's very difficult to find books that distill the information down by people, process, business. Most books, they distill the information in a number of very hard to understand ways like process groups, knowledge areas, PMBOK 7 and all that, but you don't want to go that route. Let me show you what you want to do. What you want to do is go on down here, scroll down to the bottom and hit the PMP Exam Immersion PDF. You probably want this in PDF. And the cool thing about the PDF book is you also get a workbook with it and you also get a cheat sheet. So if you go on down here, you can immediately grab the material, just follow through, and you will see that it's 75, which is a difference of 20 from what is being sold on Amazon. Amazon, the fees because of distribution fees is quite high. So you might just want to go the PDF route instead. If you want to go the hard copy route, you can, but you can also print this book. Okay, so for those of you who want the PMP Exam Immersion book, which breaks it down into people, process, business, just follow the link that I put in the chat right there. Okay, or go to praizion.com, scroll down, and the information is there. Okay, I also have a few free gifts for you. The first one is the PMP Exam Immersion Study timetable. I'm going to send you this timetable because I think it will help you stay on the straight and narrow. If you study based on this PDF, I think it will make life quite bearable for you. So I'm going to put this PDF in the chat. Feel free to download it and share it with friends who are also struggling on the PMP exam, because it's a struggle. I know the struggle is real. I spent 6 months studying for my exam because I was doing it wrong. You don't want to do it wrong. So download that link I just sent you in the chat. Let me show you what that is. So over here, I have a day by day. Like if you're going to end up spending the full 40 days, then you can just follow this and just watch the videos on pmp.pmradio.org, right? So all the way down here, we have all the information on how you should study across 40 days. It is doable. So don't give up. I know the cost has gone up, but you also want to be smart as you study, okay? I also very recently put out a challenge. I'm not sure how many of you have done the challenge, but I would love to challenge you. Those of you who say, Phil, I'm almost ready, but am I ready? I get that a lot. I get that a lot from people who are doing this study hall that I was calling PMI out on. And they're like, Phil, should I do the exam? I got 50% in study hall. And I'm like, study hall is not the best proof of readiness. I would recommend other options that are reliable, but not draconian in the questions. I feel the questions are somewhat draconian. But I got a nice challenge for those of you who are taking the exam. I've got a free link to a mock exam of 15 questions. And the cool thing is you can take this as many times as two times, because after the second time, you probably won't be able to log in. But if you are ready for the exam and you wanted to test your firepower, I've got this really cool link. It's limited time, so this is not going to be available forever. But I would recommend jump on it this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are, and take this free quiz. It's free. It's totally free. And I put it in the chat. And it's going to help me gauge your readiness. All right. To my friends who are on Instagram, I see you. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, now would be a perfect time to ask. I'm going to put that link in Instagram as well. And feel free to take that quiz. I think you'll find a ton of value from it. All right. Any questions before we round up? Any concerns? Does anyone have exam shivers and chills? No. Very good. Well, I'm glad you don't. If you ever have any questions, always put them in this stream, in this chat. I'll be more than happy to get back to you. But going back to our topic, which was the PMP exam fees. I know the fees seem huge, but when you do the analysis, the fees overall, the increase for the PMP, the PMI members who are going for the PMP, it's not as much as it seemed. Just seeing the 675. There's a 20% differential if you're not a member, but 21% differential. But if you are a member, the increase isn't that much. So it's 20% increase for membership, a $20 increase for membership, and about $20 increase for the exam. So overall, a $40 jump, which is about 14% increase from what it was before. All right. But with that, my friends, we have come to the end of OMG. PMI have made the exam almost $700. Is it worth my while? What is the far-reaching implication? And I've already shown you, but we're going to have a quick recap for those of you just come in who missed the beginning. I'm going to share very quickly the slides, my analysis. So I did a deep dive into what the implications are, and what we discovered in our little analysis of this situation is that the PMP is definitely worth its weight. I know a lot of people disagree, but I believe it's worth its weight in gold for what it has done for my career. You can only blame the user. You cannot blame the creator. If I create a vacuum, right, vacuum cleaner, and the user is using it wrong, I cannot blame the manufacturer. I got to blame the user. To up the ante on your PMP, additional work is needed. You have to stand out from the crowd. So before, it was $405, membership was $139, non-member exam was that, and now it's this, right? $425 for members. The membership has gone up to $159. If you don't want to be a member of your local chapter, please don't pay the extra, all right? And while it's good to be a member of your local chapter, I know it may not work for everyone due to, just availability of time, schedule. Maybe you've got kids and you're not able to leave them for a second during the day. I understand that. And you may not want to be a member of your local chapter. But being a member, we've already determined it does make sense for many reasons. Membership fee increase is 14%. Exam fee increase for members, 4%. Exam fee increase for non-members, 21%. And you can go back and watch all the details. I don't want to bore you. But I want to say thank you for joining me today. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this PMI increase? Do you think it's justified, or do you think, PMI is playing the role of Shylock? You tell me. Anyway, we're done. Thank you very much, my friends. I look forward to having one of these again with you. Maybe we'll look back in the rearview mirror and we'll see. Maybe PMI, maybe they were right. Maybe they should have increased after all because of inflation and other things. All right. So Lawan, thank you for chatting in. Lawan says, I'll check the PMI website. However, is it only the PMP that has increased in fees? Or other exams affected as well? That is a brilliant question, Lawan. Why did you open the can of worms? Why did you open the can of worms? Well, let's go on down to PMI's website. Let's take a trip to pmi.org. The best way to find out is to actually go there, right? So why don't we go on down to certifications and take a look at, I didn't want to do this on the call, but let's go on down to CAPM. I think Lawan has opened a can of worms. So I know some of you want to take the ACP. Maybe the handwriting is on the wall. Maybe you need to do it now, right? Before the fees get even wilder and wilder. So from what I'm seeing, the member cost of CAPM, just using CAPM as a gauge, it hasn't gone up. So let me share my screen with you. Let me go to PMI site. Very good question. I was trying to avoid that question, actually, or avoid that topic. I wanted that to be a different video, but let's go there. So CAPM, we can see that the fees are pretty much the same. At least the last time I checked, that's what it was. Let's go back and let's check PGMP. I recall it being around the 800 mark. And let's see if anything has changed there. Okay, yeah, still 800 for members, 1,000 for non-members. So pretty much the same. I'll do one more and then we'll call it a day. Let's look at the ACP. ACP was around the same price as PMP from what I recall. Let's go down there and check. So 435 for members. So yeah, this looks like there has been an increase, which is wild because this is even higher. ACP is even higher than PMP. This is 435. Non-members is 495, which is not as high as PMP. So very interesting choice of numbers. And it's a really great question, Lawan. Thank you for asking it, because now our friends get to benefit from this adjustment understanding as well. Let's go on down to PMI PBA. From what I recall, that was in the 555 for non-members at the time. So yeah, still looking the same. Lawan, please don't give PMI any more ideas. I think I think this is enough for a day. Won't you agree? I think the RMP is the same price range as it was for PMP. Wow. Oh my gosh. So Lawan, I'm grateful for your question because I did not know that the members had to pay $520 for the RMP. Wow. And $670 for non-members. So wow, that has got to be one of the most expensive certifications. I'm sure glad I got mine. Those of you who are thinking of doing the RMP, again, if you need training, coaching, and help, that is something I do one-on-one, the RMP and the SP. Let's check out the SP. Scheduling professional. Let's check that out. Lawan's making me go to town on this one. This was not part of my initial scope. Is it scope creep, Lawan? You making me do scope creep here? All right, let's check the portfolio management professional. I don't see the SP. Hopefully nothing has befallen it. I got to look for the SP. Wow, PFMP has gone up. It was not this the last time I checked, right? But it only makes sense. Portfolio and program management, you know, probably will be a higher ticket on those. I don't see the PMI SP, which gives me cause for concern because that's one of my favorite certifications. So I also do not see the other certifications PMI has. So I got to look into that. But thank you very much, Lawan. I appreciate the question. Um, it has definitely helped us gain a lot of intelligence about what the PMI is doing. For those of you who are already PMPs like Lawan, there's a number of things that you might want to consider. And one of the things is, Lawan says, lock in some cert applications in soon. Yeah, you might want to do that, right? But you might also want to consider you might market research. You might also want to consider um, amping up what you have because you're a PMP, but is that enough? And I have a saying, I just say PMP is never enough. PMP is the beginning, but what will take you to success is a number of steps. And one of the steps that you can take is mentoring, coaching, and help. And the mentoring and coaching help that I offer, you can get that at pmanonymous.com, right? I also have another vehicle. It's called Life After the PMP Exam. And leadershipavenue.com is the website where you can get training for life after your PMP. We just had one start this week. We're going to have another one start very soon. If you are interested in learning life after the PMP, how to succeed in life, and how to up the ante on your schedule and cost and scope and get really good to that level of excellence for the real world, go on down to leadershipavenue.com. Highly advise that you sign up for the next one. It's going to be sometime this month, late this month. Sign up so that you can up the ante on your PMP. This PMP is great, but as I've realized, there's a lot to learn after PMP. There's a lot to learn about navigating the marketplace, and that's why I've written a lot of books. I want to recommend one book for those of you PMPs who you mean business in the real world. You want to get my DigSiv book. And DigSiv is a model for problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. You can find this on Amazon, everywhere books are sold. My recommendation is you learn a problem solving model that can help you. And for those of you that are Scrum Masters, you may also want to throw in my Scrum Mastery Leadership book. There's so many things. But all in all, get coaching and help to blow this up after your PMP. If you're unable to get those books and you're unable to join this, I really don't know what else. Let me give you one more suggestion. Maybe you should join my free podcast. I have a free podcast because I'm always looking to help people. And it's called the Project Leadership Institute podcast. And you can find that on Apple. I'm going to put it in the chat. Project Leadership Institute podcast. And I do my best to share ideas on life after the PMP because I'm very passionate about this. I was quite at sea as far as now I'm PMP, what do I do? And very honestly, there are not a whole lot of vehicles that can help guide you, as far as what to do after PMP. But I have put together a podcast to help those of you who are certified and you just need that continuous, prodding and prepping in the right direction. go to my Project Leadership Institute podcast. It's everywhere. Let me show you on the screen. So this is the Project Leadership Institute podcast, Life After the PMP Exam. Just follow the link that I put in the chat. Those of you on Instagram, I did not forget you. I will put that link into the chat on Instagram as well. And just keep coming along for the ride. I'm going to do everything I can to support your efforts as you continue along this journey, especially those of you who got certified on my watch, right? I know lots of you are looking, okay, I'm a PMP, but my job isn't satisfying me anymore. Management isn't recognizing my accomplishments. I know. And that's why this podcast is there to help you, give you another voice as a sounding board. All right. Well, the fun is over, my friends. Let's get back to work. It's Monday in the United States. For some of you, it's end of day in Europe. EMEA, my friends are ready to go to bed in Middle East and Asia. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And you let me know what you think. I want you to put some comments, right, in the chat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. What do you honestly think? And don't get weirded out thinking PMI is going to read the comments. PMI, they got bigger fish to fry. They don't care what, they care, but they're not looking at what you're saying on social media. Or are they? I don't think they are. Come on now. Even if they are, honesty is the best policy. What do you think about PMI's cost increase? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're going to do about it. Are you still going to take the exam? Does this deter you from taking the exam? Let me know what you think. Bye for now, my friends.